really happened on Friday when the Chinese trade delegation pulled out of their trip to Montana? Why the heck were we told that the Chinese had canceled when it turns out our government canceled it? Something we only learned yesterday from Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin in an awkward press conference with the president. If you roll back the tape, this was big news. The averages got pulverized on Friday afternoon because the cancellation made it seem like the broader negotiations with China weren't going well. Hey, stands to reason. But you know what? It turns out that the Chinese didn't cancel. We did. So where did this story even come from? I've gone over every bit of news. It seems the original source was someone named Nicole Rolfe, the director of national affairs for the Montana Farm Bureau Federation, who implied that the Chinese were to blame, and China said nothing to contradict it. Here's the thing. The Montana Farm Bureau Federation, it isn't a federal agency. It's not even a state agency. It's an industry group. Yet somehow this person became the linchpin for a chain of information that caused the whole market to roll over. Look, I don't blame Nicole Rolfe. She doesn't even work for the government. But I do blame the Treasury Department and the Office of U.S. Trade Representative. Apparently, they asked the Chinese to cancel because our Trade Representative, Robert Lighthizer, only found out at the last minute. We weren't prepared, which is fine. What's not fine is that nobody from the federal government thought to disseminate that information to the press. They heard the Montana farm lobby blame the Chinese, and they let that story stand. Worse, they didn't even tell the president. Consider the totally bizarre interaction between President Trump and Secretary Mnuchin at the press conference yesterday. It sure sounded like Trump accepted the media's explanation that the Chinese canceled the Montana Goodwill mission out of nowhere. How the heck was the President of the United States getting this information from the Montana Farm Bureau Federation rather than his cabinet? Worst of all, this story got virtually no follow-up press, even in Bozeman, Montana, which just shows you how murky this darn process is. The moment the bogus news that China had canceled the trip broke, well, the market sold off. How could Mnuchin and Lighthizer look at that action and say nothing to the president or the market in general? Hey, listen, if you wanted to sabotage the trade talks, this would be a great way to do it. But the president of the stock market deserved better than this ridiculous misdirection play. My ultimate takeaway, don't get your hopes up about a trade deal until you see it in writing. Because until we get an actual deal, it's impossible to tell what's really going on. I wish I knew what Lighthizer and Mnuchin were up to here. Was this some kind of standoff between the Hawks and the Doves? Were they trying to avoid blame, or were they just clueless? And did they just not even inform the President of the United States? I don't know. Neither do you. So the next time you hear some story about the trade negotiations from a random non-governmental source, hey, maybe you should take it with a grain of salt. Stick with Cramer.
Don't miss a second of Mad Money. Follow @Jim Cramer on Twitter. Have a question? Tweet Cramer. #MadTweets. Send Jim an email to madmoney@cnbc.com or give us a call at 1-800-743-CNBC. Miss something? Head to madmoney.cnbc.com.